Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Wednesday Call Live. Now, let's hear from our host, Andy Albright.
Thank you, Billy. Thank you, Billy. Glad you guys are on here. Let's see. I am checking my screen, try to get it where I can see it like I want to see it. All right. Hey, Sarah, how you doing?
Good morning, Andy. Doing awesome. How are you doing?
Good. How's Mr. Pablo doing?
He's doing good. He just got recruited by a firm, so big things happening.
That's what I heard.
Yeah.
I heard he was getting his securities license, too.
Yep.
Did you tell him that a little girl that's only 21 years old did it in 14 days? So it shouldn't really take that long.
Yeah, I didn't tell him that, but
We'll text him now. I'll let you break and say, FYI, a little 21-year-old girl got hers in 14 days, so I hope it don't take too long, sweetie. And always add in, I believe in you. You're my guy, and stuff like that. You know, a lot of sugar.
yeah, I got it. Noted.
Yeah. Not kidding. From the day I said, I suggest you do it, it was 14 days. While she continued to produce and sell. If I have to give more facts and figures, I will, but it's not a made-up story. It's a true story. You don't have to get yours, and I'm not getting... I got mine, actually, one time, but I got rid of it fast as I could. Some people like it. I'm going to try to... No, I'm not going to try that. I'm not messing anything up on my screen. You tell them I said hello and tell them about the little girl. She's little, too. She's like that tall. It's like, not that size has anything to do with intelligence, but, or ambition or anything, but you know what I'm talking about? You don't know? Emily Katz.
Yeah, good. She's a badass.
Yes, she is.
Such a good heart.
A good heart.
Good heart. Good people.
Yeah. How's the rest of the family? How many kids? Tell me about y'all's kids.
Yeah, family's doing great. 3 little boys. Elio just started first grade. Alessandro just started what we call out here is pre-K. So he's in the same Montessori school as his big brother. So they're excited, you know, amazing school over there. And then Paolo, he's still a little baby. He's still home with me, thriving, chunky as ever, getting into everything. Paolo turns 2 next week.
How you spell that?
Paolo. So I have Pablo, which is my husband, and then Paolo, which is the little one. The Italian version of Pablo.
I thought you were saying it different. So
yeah.
Good. Good. So my name's Andy Albright. We've got 3 people that are fairly new with the organization that are crushing it, that they've given us production, how much money they've made so far this year. They're recruiting, they're building, and I'm learning a few more things about them today, updates, and hopefully you guys can take some tips and run with it. Andre, I think we've met once but hadn't chatted a lot. Give me a high level who you are and where you're from and who brought you into the organization.
Yeah, so I'm originally from Illinois, went to University of Illinois, wrestled there, so I was there for 5 years, graduated in 2019, and after that did a little bit of work with actually Globe Life for I wouldn't even say a full year before COVID happened. And then I started working for my dad, and then eventually started working for Goosehead Insurance, which is a pretty large brokerage, but they focus more so on the property and casualty side. So home, auto, flood. So I did that for almost 2 years, and eventually ended up meeting Mike through one of the realtors that I worked with at Goosehead. So he introduced me to Mike, and that at the time I was in Houston. So talked to Mike, and I was actually already going to be moving out to North Carolina, to Raleigh. So I ended up moving out here and just deciding to go full time. And yeah, that's pretty much it for me.
Mike, you keep referring to Mike.
Mike Guerra.
Mike Guerra. Fantastic. He's killing it. Are you in Raleigh, North Carolina now?
Yeah.
Are you gonna be there Friday night when I come hang out a little bit?
Yeah, I'll be there.
Have you registered for that?
No, I didn't register. I was just going to go.
But you know about it.
Yeah.
Somebody will probably
Brandon had sent me something on it because I don't live far from him. So I've been talking with him quite a bit.
You're in a nice neighborhood if you don't live too far from him.
Yeah. Well, a little bit. Well, not too far. Not exactly where he is, though. We working.
So a good friend of mine owns a piece of that company called Fortnite, and he's a good buddy. I've got a lot of millions invested with him. And then there's another guy that I just bought a piece of his company is based out of there that does this thing called Tribucha. I don't even know if I'm saying it right, but it's this health drink.
Kombucha?
That's
kombucha?
it. Yeah, kombucha. But I think his is named Tribucha, but it is that kombucha drink, and he makes it out of that distributorship where we're going to be. But they're getting ready to move it to Buffalo, New York. But so quite a few cool people there. Because
it's pretty much alcohol. I mean, it's fermented tea. So
it's actually not, but you can have it fermented and become alcohol. You stop it before it comes out of alcohol. As a matter of fact, probably one of their expanded offerings will be with alcohol, but it is currently not. It's a health drink with live antioxidant. I don't know. Let's don't talk about them yet. Let's just say I'll see you there Friday night. It's a really cool place. You'll meet some great people. I look forward to meeting you and shaking hands. Do you so you wrestled in college?
Mm-hmm.
Is that what you said? So
Yeah.
Did you graduate from the University of Illinois?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I actually wrestled one guy from NC State back in probably like 2018, 17. So yeah, familiar with all the big schools.
Okay.
Aaron's a big Penn State guy, so
Yeah. That's right, he is. They're big on wrestling. Okay. Now, are you married, have kids or anything?
No wife, no kids, just a big dog. I spend just as much on them, but
What kind of dog you got?
I have a South African Mastiff, big boy, about 140 pounds. Big dog, yeah. Teddy bear though. People cross the street when they see him, but he wouldn't do nothing.
A Mastiff won't do nothing?
He won't do nothing.
I wouldn't mess with you or a goat that's standing by. You start messing with a goat or something, Mastiff will kill you. Those are the biggest dogs I've ever seen.
Yeah, he is pretty big. He is.
I should have asked you, Sarah, for everybody that don't know, tell us how you connected to this organization.
Yes, I work. I used to work in the dental industry. I was a dental hygienist for about a decade, 10 years. And during that time, I came in contact with Beret Joseph, who was a beaming light, and stayed in contact over the years. You know, both have little kids, a lot to connect on. And basically, she invited me, opened the door, and here we are. So, yeah, so good friends with Beret Joseph and Jake out here in Rio Rancho, New Mexico.
So for everybody else listening, that would go Jake and Beret Joseph, and then who does that go to next? It doesn't go to Joe Dukes, or does it?
Yeah, or Jera.
That's Jared Gonzalez. That's what I was trying to say. Jared Gonzalez, and then Joe Dukes, and then Mike and Noel Leventovich. Yeah. And actually, there's Epstein is in there too. So Epstein is probably a $15,000 to $25,000 producer. So what you want to talk about, Andre, is you think about this organization. I hired this guy, Alex Abian, who hired Mike Leventovich, who hires Epstein, who hires Joe Dukes, who hires Jared Gonzalez, who's Jake and Varay. You see how it's going way down deep, Andre? And then with you, it goes Stephen Davies, who hired Hutch, Mark Hutchinson, who hired Nick, who hired Mike Guerra. And people say, well, that's just 4 down. Like, y'all don't know how many people were above you, Andre, that quit. Now, I would say, why would somebody quit when they hired somebody like Andre? Right? That makes no sense. Well, see, you weren't, they quit too early. They should have stayed around longer to find out that Andre would be in their downline. But they didn't know, they didn't have the vision to see. What's your last name, Andre?
Lee, Lee.
Got it. All right. Now, Aaron, or Aaron as I know him, I met him really early in his kind of career with us. And because one of my buddies, one of our recruiters, found Aaron somehow. I don't even know what kind of advertisement. We were up in Pittsburgh pretty quick, somewhere in Pennsylvania pretty quick.
Yeah.
I know he was a Penn State guy, and he was in real estate management. I'll let you tell it, Aaron. I won't tell your story. Kind of give them highlight how you got involved with us and who you're connected to.
So I actually I moved to Pittsburgh in 2014, and I was doing corporate. I was doing closed captioning for the largest company in the country, and I wanted to change. So I applied to probably 1,000,001 jobs in 2019, 2020. Ended up leaving there, going to do property management for a Penn State grad, fixed his portfolio, and my consolation prize was either more work or find a new job. So I found a new job and ended up working for a guy down at Pitt University. I get a phone call from Patrick Waddell, August of last year. Answers the phone. He's like, "Hey, Bo." I'm like, "Who the heck's Bo?" So I figured out real quick what Bo meant down there in North Carolina. But ended up having about a 45-minute conversation with him in a Rite Aid parking lot, 2 minutes from my home. I pulled over, talked to him for about 45 minutes, told me that y'all were coming up probably about a week and a half, 2 weeks later. And I said, all right, well, there's too many things here to not see this kind of through. So the stars were pretty much aligning. So I was like, all right, let me see at least what this opportunity is about. I was still working at the time. And I was like, all right, this is kind of cool. I'm going to start my licensing class. Patrick was the first person I called September 2nd of last year. I actually walked out on my job. I had a McGriddle from McDonald's in my left hand, and I had a Diet Coke in my right hand, and I walked straight out the front door and called him, and I said, "Hey, Bo, I'm in. I don't know what this whole thing's going to be, but I'm in." So kind of just fast forward from there, and here we are now.
Now, what were they paying? I remember the first day. I didn't realize it was only a week after we first contacted you, but I remember telling you because I was like, I'll buy that guy's portfolio of business.
Yeah.
Remember that? I was like, go see if he wants to sell. And I'm in it too.
Yeah, I know you did.
What was he paying you to run that operation?
Not enough. But realistically, I think it was like 26 an hour or something like that. So not enough at all.
26 times 40
salary, so
times 52. It's 50,000, bro. Come on, man.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
I was looking here. You've already made more this year and probably taken home twice as much as you took home doing that.
Yeah. And the crazy thing is a lot of what I've done so far has been guaranteed issue. So 50% up front. This winter time is going to be fun.
Oh, because your back end's coming. Your back end money.
Yeah, we coming.
I was talking to Adam Katz this morning, and I was talking about his daughter Emily, who got her securities license in 14 days. I'm talking about in her pocket got her license, and It's not that hard if you want to do it. I'm not selling you guys on it at all. But I did occur to me to sell it to her. She's 20. I can't remember if she's turned 22 yet, 21 or 22 years old. I'm thinking, God, how smart she is. Why not do it and start that portfolio of money coming in on the side? Well, congratulations. It's funny. I hear all the time, people with master's degree from Penn State, NC State University, they're driving a truck for UPS, or they're doing real estate management for 50 grand. They got a psychology degree or an engineering degree. And Andre, University of Illinois, Urbana-Champaign. Urbana-Champaign. You hear these people making these, big degrees, but not so great on salary. Now, what you'll hear as an employer, Aaron, is that everybody's like, when you hire people, they go, well, this company over here is paying like $96,000 to be a secretary. I don't know why you only going to pay me 42, and you're like, and you got to decide, here's the question is really that easy to walk away and get a $97,000 job? You know what I'm saying? Or is it really easy to make $260,000 on a job? Well, here's the problem. We just had a guy walk away from a job making $325,000, Andre. That's his job. He's got an undergraduate in NC State, master's degree from Duke University, and he's making $325,000. You know what he said? This is dumb. And I was like, I agree 100% with you. Who on earth would work a job for $325,000 when you can come over here and sell insurance in 40 hours a day, make $500,000, and not get taxed? And so many people go like, I just don't make no sense to me. I go, you're right. It don't make no sense to me. It's inconceivable to me. Now, here's the problem. There's a disconnect, Sarah and Andre. I think about what I want. A lot of people think about all the stuff from where they are to get what they want. I go straight to what do I want. Does that make sense? Matter of fact, I got a success coin. There's a couple right here in the case. One says, what do I want? Next thing's, how do I get it? So my deal was freedom. Freedom. That was my word for years and years and years, was freedom. I didn't really care about money. I just wanted freedom. Now, really quickly, tied into freedom for me has always been money. Okay? I'm just going to tell you, it just clicked to me. It may not click with you. You might have a different set of principles, values, scoring system. But just for me, it was freedom, baby. It wasn't money. I don't care nothing about money. I just wanted to be free. What do I want? How do I get it? $325,000 and somebody telling you what to do? Where to be? Hey, I want an all expense paid trip, and my wife, she can't go because her boss won't let her off that week because they got an important project. Like, what? If I went all expense, my wife she got a master's degree, UNCG, University of North Carolina at Greensboro. So according like you, Andre, University of North Carolina at Greensboro. She got a master's degree from Fayetteville State University. And that is near, shocking, Fayetteville, North Carolina, which is also known as Vietnam 2 or something like that. It's a big army base. And she quit her job after 7 years. I had started making enough money. I told her she didn't really need to work. Well, she was going to have Haley anyway, our first child. And then after we kind of got money coming in, the kids were out of school and she didn't have to worry about them. She's like, can I go back to work? I said, yeah, sure. Why? Well, I just want to feel like I can do something. I said, how about you try part-time? And so she did that, and me and the kids about lost our mind. Because you'd ask her to do something, and she'd like, I got to go to work. And I go like, not me, but it's just me and the kids would be like, what? Why? Well, they said I need to be there. I was like, that's weird. So freedom, baby. So I want to talk to you guys about freedom. I love my staff contacted y'all and said, what's the biggest thing you've learned? I got from Aaron, I've learned to get out of my own comfort zone and just go do the dang thing. Don't spend time playing things out in your head or overthinking it. And then, and we'll come back to you on that, Aaron. And Aaron, and Andre said, never believe the client. Never believe your clients. I don't know about that one, but I hear you. Sarah says a lot. Be a blessing, sharing the opportunity. Forthcoming with the fact that here is an open door where you're going to now do it with. I don't know. What do you mean by that, Sarah? Maybe I'm not reading it right. What is your biggest thing you've learned here? Or since you've been
That's a totally loaded question, if you realize that. I've learned so much. I have like a whole notebook of things, but I don't know. My biggest takeaway as of 6 o'clock this morning when I wrote that back to you half asleep was just, this is a blessing, this whole opportunity is a blessing. Like, what are we going to do with it? Like, okay, the Lord has opened a door. Okay. He's opened a door. Now, how are you going to take off with the thing? Just learning that, like, not sharing this with people, like, is a little selfish, So just, I think the main takeaway, besides the million other things that I've learned just in this short period of time, is just share the business, share the opportunity. Don't be selfish. There's people who are struggling and on their hands and knees praying for something different. Like, we're blessing in people's home when we go and we serve and we help families. Like, why can't we take that glimmer of light and share this opportunity with our neighbors, our friends, ex-coworkers? So that was my 6 a.m. morning takeaway, Andy.
Andre, what are you talking about? Don't trust your clients, man. The public, the people out there, they'll tell you.
No, when you ask about their policy, what do you have? And I guess I was just thinking of more so, what have you learned? I was just thinking of being in the field. So he said one thing. So that was one of the things that came to mind. You get in a lot of people's houses and they say, oh, I have this or that, whatever it is. And then you call company and they don't have anything. So, you're doing them a disservice by not digging a little bit deeper. So that's what I meant by that.
Are you starting to build a team, Andre?
Working on it. I have 2 people who have licenses. They're both in Illinois though. And then I have one who needs 2 others that need to get their license still. So
well, you think you can't believe clients. Wait until you start hiring agents.
Oh, yeah, I already know that.
Did you hear Aaron's story about how he wasn't making enough? You should have seen him the first time I met him. What do you do for a living? I'm a property manager. I pretty much run this man's entire company. It's a vast empire, and he pays me large sums of American money. You're like, really? Wow.
Perception.
Yeah, right.
And I remember hitting him with kind of like
McDonald's. Hey, McDonald's in both hands, lying to you.
The crazy part was he was serious about buying his portfolio, and he's like, call your boss real quick. I'm like, I can't call him. I told him I was sick. I'm here to see you because I'm sick. We cannot call him today. He's like, pick up the phone. I'm like, I can't do that. That's the one thing I can't do.
You did not tell me.
He was lying.
You did not tell me you lied to your boss. Which was smart, because I would have questioned your ethics. I would have been lying so ago. I can't call him. That's funny, because I'm sure I probably was like, no, seriously, call him right now.
Serious. You were dead serious. I was like, I can't do that today. Today's not today. Tomorrow, maybe.
You should call him back again and say, sir, before the guy I was working with was interested in buying your portfolio. Now, I'll be honest with you, I want to buy your portfolio. Just kind of jack with him a little bit, You
know what's ironic? I've been going through a whole situation with him. He still hasn't paid me my last paycheck. But I did hire 2 of his girls out of the office. One of them already wrote a policy. and the other one's she's coming right behind. So I got 2 of the 3 already. We need 1 more, and we got all 3 of them.
You got more.
You get that last paycheck.
Hey, I know, right?
Yeah, over and over and over again.
Okay.
Let's see. Let me share my. Well, first of all, yesterday, kind of yesterday, not really yesterday, but yesterday in my world, I woke up in a northern province of Rwanda, and I took a helicopter ride for 30 minutes to Kigali, which is the capital of Rwanda, and then I caught a jet for 6.5 hours to Doha, Doha, which is the capital city of Qatar. And then I caught a 14.5-hour flight to Atlanta. And then my jet was waiting on me in Atlanta, and it picked up me and my wife, and we flew for an hour. And so I got back here at 6:30 p.m. last night. So helicopter flight, 5.5-hour flight, 14.5-hour flight, and a 1-hour flight. And I had a lot of things to think about. And one of the things I thought about was I've really been screaming at people, how do you get rich? When in fact, 99.999% of people don't even want to get rich. Maybe the number's not that high, but I think it's around 99% are not interested in getting rich. And I get that. It's hard for me to get that because ever since I was a kid and I watched The Plane, Fantasy Island, and ever since I'd watched the Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous and Magnum PI, that the guy had that y'all young, you might not even know these television shows, but that's where I learned where rich was, watching television and seeing what Mercedes and BMWs and multi-million-dollar houses in Hawaii. My parents were really hardworking folks. Their perception of rich was not even in the neighborhood, and I always just wanted to be rich. I just thought it'd be cool. I was never interested in nosebleed section tickets, concerts. I just wanted to be like it, the suites and stuff like that. Same thing for my kids. And so one of the things to try to think is, how do I talk to people that don't want to get rich and not like upset them and run them off? But then when I find somebody that wants to get rich, I'm ready for them. And I say, all right, here's what you do. So this is my new personality, trying not to be so screaming at people on how to get rich when nobody even cares about that. I do want to make a recommendation to you if you ever get a chance. When we were traveling, we got to go see the Sousa family. If you ever get a chance to meet this family, the really cool organization. They're up in the rainforest of Rwanda, and I have not posted any pictures yet of my staff. And then the next day we got to go see the Hirwa family. Can y'all see that? The Hirwa family? They're actually cousins to the Sousa family. We're so close to them. These are huge gorillas, one of the most nearly extinct. I think it is the most nearly extinct large primate there is. One of them actually was coming by us so rapidly. I caught the video of it as the gorilla grabbed Jane and pushed her to the side with that big hand. That's pretty amazing. She's all fired up. She got pushed aside by a gorilla. But when you talk about incredible pictures, we hiked 2.5 miles straight up the side of a mountain. It was pretty grueling. Fortunately, we had each had our own porter, which is person to hold your hand, hold your bag, and make sure you don't break your neck climbing this mountain, and then traipse through the jungles that I've never been through before. This is after spending 10 days in Botswana, which is a different kind of landscape, desert, different program, where I got to see 2 leopards really, really, really close, like real close, wild, deadly. Not at the time. They were probably not as dangerous as they were earlier. I also saw at least 700 elephants. Most elephants I've ever seen, a lot of elephants. One of them really, 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 really up close. And eland. And so that is what I want to do, not get rich. I wanted to be able to travel with my wife. This is a 21-day trip, Andre, first class. Also, if you look this up, so this would, if you want to look this up, I would look up gorillas in the rainforest. I would probably also look this up. There's 8 one and onlys in the world. We stayed at the one and only gorilla nest. I don't even want to tell you. Just click on it and then just book you any date for a suite. We were at the Virunga suite, number 4, Virunga suite. Just click on it and see how much it is per night, just by chance. The one and only gorilla's nest. There's 8 of them in the world. James said, I have a new vision. I would like to stay at each of the one and onlys around the world. I was like, that's a great vision, sweetie. That's called freedom, baby. Not just the money, but to be able to schedule it and go. So that's my 2 things. Sarah, you're starting to get some good traction with people moving, making money, right?
Yep.
Who would you say, if you was going to base your kids' future on their leadership potential, their selling, their building, like you got to pick somebody to wear, the captain's thing on their jersey. Maybe not next week, but right now, who would be the captain of your team?
Kinley and Zach Wilson. They're a couple out there in Fort Worth, Texas. Just have an amazing vision.
Who is it again?
Kinley and Zach.
Kinley and Zach. Does Zach like to shoot stuff?
Yep.
Yep, I like him. Matter of fact, we talked about him on the way back. I was like, what's that guy's name? So thanks for reminding me. I like him. You think maybe they're listening?
Oh yeah, they're on. They're texting me right now.
Just tell him that high on my list is one of the shooting endeavors that he mentioned. He probably heard me say. Also, Gemsbok, Gemsbok. We saw quite a few of those. Elands and, Cape Buffalo. Crazy stuff. I'm sure Zach's freaking out. I will tell him if he shoots me a text, I'll send him some pictures. So did you hire them directly, or are they under somebody that you hired?
I hired Haley Wilson.
Mm-hmm.
Haley Wilson invited them out to a hot spot in Dallas. Mike Noel was out there with a bunch of other leaders, met them out there, ran business with Haley, got to know Kinley, got to know Zach. And then, so Haley hired Kinley hired Zach. And Kinley and Zach are a couple, and they're merging their business together.
Okay. Yeah. So Haley really has found one great couple.
Yep.
So Haley needs to find more great people.
Right. Yep.
Okay.
Haley just left. Haley just actually, she hung up her cap as a hygienist. So so she kind of was doing what I did at the beginning of the year. So I'm just, helping guide her and doing that and coming on board. So
hopefully she's listening. Also, that is fantastic. So you got one good organization. So now your goal, that's kind of your standard. Haley, Kinley, and Zach's kind of your standard. Now what you're doing is you're trying to find somebody better than them, or as good, or close. Now, if you have somebody that's terrible compared to them, they're still your second best. Right? So if you find somebody who's really hard-headed, self-centered, egotistical, knows everything, you want to tell you about an aggravating downline is when they're broke, busted, and disgusted, and on top of that, they're arrogant.
right.
That's annoying to me. Is you go like, what did you base your arrogance on? It ain't your billfold. You know what I mean? It's like, God. So then it's like, well, at least the next person I get it broke, maybe at least they'll be humble.
Right.
And then you go, what would be cool is if you found somebody who's already making 200,000 and humble. Or 54,000 and humble. It's seriously better than finding somebody that's absolutely broke and arrogant, or they're making 60,000 and arrogant. If you know 50,000 and humble, now they're teachable, so to speak. So you kind of got your standard. Let's go. Now, so now what you're doing is you're sorting like crazy, because a lot of people tell me, they go like, hey, I don't want to build a team with a bunch of crybabies and annoying people. I go like, yeah, me neither. That's why I'm always trying to find really good people. That'd be like, what would be terrible is the coach in the SEC or the ACC with a lot of little bitty people. You know what I'm saying? Or have a wrestling team and everybody's like got no muscles and kind of big bellies, little bitty arms. You'd be like, I don't want to coach when I got to coach a bunch of people like that. Like, why would you recruit those little people when you've got a wrestling team? Well, that's the people that wanted to play at my school. Right. You kind of get my point, Andre?
Yeah.
Papa, our coach at NC State, I'm trying to think his name, Papa something, Papadosa something. Joker's bad to the bone. Like, they're always in the top 10 in the country. We're always doing stuff for him. One of my friends really supports him a lot, but I do stuff for him for the country music concerts and stuff like that we have tickets for. But matter of fact, I need to do more with him because he's a bad to the bone. But he's got a great team because he recruited a great team. You understand, Andre? So a lot of people, they tell me about how bad their team is or how annoying their team is, and I go like, you're the one that recruited them, right? So I don't have standard phones near me now. I really only have my cell phone. The way it works is I talk longer, like Patrick Waddell spent 45 minutes talking to Aaron the first time I ever met him, because he had some sense, had a decent job, decent degree, so we were more interested in recruiting him than somebody you're talking to and you're going, oh my God, this person could not sell damn hot chocolate to Eskimos. And then you're trying to talk them into how great the business is, and it's going to turn their life around, and they won't have to keep killing seals anymore and all this stuff. You're like, bro, why are you trying to talk them? I mean, don't get me wrong. If they want to get in, let them get in, but don't waste so much time, effort, energy, and emotion on a person that's going to drive you insane the rest of your life. Does that make sense, Andre?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. You owe it to them to show it to them is what you said, Sarah. You should owe it to people. So let me start with this. Every single person. How old are you, Andre?
27.
Okay. That is the ideal age to get started with us. I would go 26 to 27, recognizable college, like University of Illinois, recognizable college, lucky as everything, meaning not got arrested because we know you shoulda, not had a baby because we know you shoulda, not had this, no you shoulda, you know what I mean? Not got killed, you're still alive, got both you, hold up, you got all your fingers, like we know how lucky we are, right? So find somebody that's fortunate, that's lucky, right? Unless you just think you're so good, which I'm going like, nah, probably just lucky or fortunate that nothing happened to you. You fair? You okay with that, Andre? So what happens is you're doing a lot of sorting. So the more people you get lined up to talk to, okay, I'm going to come back to 27 years old. My son-in-law now is 30 years old. Brandon Manley's got a massive organization. And my son is 25 now. It's going to be 26 shortly. I'm going, you got to talk to every single person you know all the time. I'm 59, bro. I'm going to call up my friends. Oh, Lord, you don't even want to know. High school people. Oh, Lord. Wait until you see your friend. Like now, they're all cute and smart and have potential, Andre. When you're 59 and you look at your friends, you're going to be like, what happened to them? Like, what a disaster. And then somebody says, you should hire your friends. And you're 59 and you look at all your friends you graduated high school and college from, and you're going like, no, I'm not hiring them. But now when they're 27, they have potential. Does that make sense, Andre? So every single person, I would beg you to just worry the snot out of them to get in this business. You say, well, I don't want to worry anybody. Okay, don't. Provide them opportunity. If I had to do over, I would drive people crazy. I have friends now like, well, you didn't tell me. And I'm like, yes, I did. But I should have told them more violently or more aggressively or with more energy and emotion back then. And the truth is, I was not in insurance when I was 27. I was in Amway. Do you know what Amway is, Andre?
A little bit. I've heard of it. Yeah.
It would be. I would put Globe is better than Amway, and Globe's pretty bad. Yeah. Okay. Did I stir up any questions, Andre?
No. I've been lucky enough to have a good group. I've talked to Mike quite a bit, Mike Guerra. So I get a lot of my questions answered there.
Yeah, you do.
A lot of the stuff, and I keep on track with all the webinars and things like that. Try to watch them when I can. If I miss it, I'll watch the recordings and also a lot of the stuff that we're talking about.
Good. Good. Who would you say is the best person you got right now, Andre? This is like if you don't get it. Well, yeah, clearly.
So the two people that I have that are licensed, they're still getting their contracts and stuff. One of them is currently still at Globe, and then there's another one. He's currently still at his other company as well, and they do life insurance and they do wealth management and all that.
Any chance they're watching the show today?
Carissa should be. She's one of them. So when I graduated college, I worked at Globe Life with her and her mom. So I'm working on getting them both on here if she hears. So I'm trying to get her.
If that's the case, then I would go with Carissa as your best right now. If she's on. If she's on.
For sure.
It'd be like going to NC State and going over there to practice gym and saying, who's your best person? And the coach says, well, they're not at practice today. All right, well, who's at practice today? You know what I mean? And by the way, you can make $250,000 selling with us. To me, I don't call that freedom. You know why I don't call that freedom, Andre?
Because you're out selling.
Yeah.
All the time.
If I don't sell, money don't come in. Don't get me wrong. People say you don't like selling. No, I love selling. We need 1,000 more people selling. Who do you think, Aaron, would be your best person right now?
Trying to think. I have a couple of people that are licensed. I actually just had a guy today. His downline just passed the exam this morning. I'd probably say, honestly, Dave Friend out of Philly.
Okay.
He hasn't done anything yet. He's where I was when I started. I know you said the most difficult space is the 6 inches between your left ear and your right ear. Mm-hmm. He's still caught up in there. But if he can see his potential and get out of his own head, I think he really has a niche here that he can run with. Because Melvin Forkba just passed his exam this morning, and that's Dave's guy.
Do you feel like you're encouraging people hard enough to get on these calls?
To be honest with you, I don't think so. I think I can do better.
Okay. That's huge, man. If I, sell you on something, is getting people to get on the calls. So later on, you'll be asking me, how do you get a person to get out of his own head? And I'll be like, I don't know. How do you get them on a phone call? We tell them about it. You see how simple get them on a phone call is easy. Getting them to get out of their own head is very difficult.
Okay.
You trying to stay out of the show? Come over here and say hey to everybody. Yeah, come here. Get your hair fixed and everything. Come here. Come here.
Hey. Hey, everybody.
Hi.
I'm busy.
The party.
I'm listening downstairs.
Okay.
Did they meet my gorilla?
Did they need your gorilla? Yeah, they met their gorilla families. You don't want to tell them how good it was. Okay. All right. So I said this earlier, is how much I really like talking to people that I feel like it's the first time they've heard some of this information. So I've actually done a couple calls with just like 22-year-old or younger, or 24-year-old and younger. This book, I read this, the second time I've read it. It's called Economics in One Lesson. Can't see the economics part. Economics in One Lesson, because it's in white, so it's hard to see it. So one thing I don't like about this way they show. Y'all can't see that, can you? It says economics in one lesson. So this book was written in 1947. But when you read it, you think it was written today. I read it. I had obviously a lot of airtime on Jet. I read it for the second time. I picked it up when I was getting ready to leave, and I didn't remember I read it. After I read the first chapter, I went, this book's unbelievable. I know I read it before. It's How to Understand Economics in One Lesson. It's easy to read, and it tells you the most complex stuff about economics you've ever heard in your life. But understanding it will blow your mind. One of the quotes in there that I wrote down is really cool. It said, the notion that we can dismiss the views of all previous thinkers surely leases no basis for the hope that our own work will prove any value to others. Meaning, if we don't believe what was written in 1947, well, if we say something in 2023, why should anybody believe us in 2028? If we just throw away what was said in 1947. What I'm reading in 1940, and then he rewrote it again in 1962. So from 1946, he wrote it again in 1962. It still reads like it was written today. If you're, depending on how smart you are, you will, like, he is talking pure crap about Venezuela and a couple other countries that have went to hell in a handbasket since 1962. And it's almost like he predicted it and told you why it was crashing. And it's very interesting. I mean, that's very tiny. I'd say 99% of it is just like, oh my God, this was written today. So for all of you guys that are saying, like Shayla, who said, I'm thinking about not going to college, I would read that book and you would know more about economics than most people that graduated with a 4-year degree from NC State or Penn State or Illinois. Where'd you go to school, Sarah?
The University of New Mexico.
New Mexico. I would say the same thing. You'd learn more in that book than the 4 years after, to understand economics. We talked a lot about lowering your taxes. This is an older book that I'm not going to endorse it like it's the greatest book I've ever read, but you just need ideas about how to reduce your taxes. And accountants always say things like, you can't do that. Am I having attorneys that say that? And I always go like, well, I read it in a book or I saw it on Law and Order. And they always say, well, you can do it if. And I might want to grab them by the throat and say, I said I want to do this, and you told me it couldn't be done. And then 3 minutes later, after I start cussing, you go like, well, yeah, you could do it if. And I go, then why don't we just tell me what I got to do so that I can write it off and save on my taxes? All right. Here's what I want you to do, Sarah. Kind of give them how you were trying. You were trying to recruit Veray, how she flipped it, and how your mentality was. Like, just tell the story, because Andre is talking to his friends, and there ain't this. And so is Aaron. So I want you to give one example of how one person who was so committed to the dental industry, the high dental hygiene, that she was a recruiter and got flipped. So does that make, and while you're talking, listen to yourself, because there's 100 other people you need to recruit. Okay. Will you tell that story?
Yeah. So we at the time, so COVID hit, and as y'all know, like things shut down, especially during, for the dental field, because we were in people's mouths, the disease, and the whole 9 yards. So New Mexico in particular was shutting down. People were retiring from the dental field. People were leaving, understaffed, the whole 9 yards. So we were just overworked, and we were looking for, myself in particular, I was looking for an assistant to come work for our office, right? So that's how me and Beret go back, is she, 10 years ago, we worked together. She was an assistant at our dental office, right? She was pregnant at the time, sweet as ever, had an amazing personality. I don't know if y'all know Beret, but she's just the nicest thing ever, right? Very sweet and kind. And so, my dentist asked, like, do you know anyone that's looking, or do you have any same sort of thing? Or you know anyone that's looking or that has a good attitude that could join our team? And I was like, I mean, I could throw some names out there. I know that Beret used to work for us. I can kind of see what she's been up to. Pulled up my Instagram, and just got curious. At that point, I saw, like, I don't even know, like, if she's still doing dentistry. Like, she's traveling the world. She's posting all these different bonus checks and stuff. And we reconnected over the phone, asked what she's been up to. That's just kind of how recruiting starts, is what are you doing? How's the family? We got on a phone call. And that's where the conversation started. Ray didn't even talk about the business, Hey, you had another kid? Like, you've had basically 3 kids since I saw you last. How's it going? Talked about Pablo, asked about what we were up to. I don't even think at that point, and I even asked her if I asked her, hey, are you still doing dentistry? Like, is that something you're still flirting with? And she said, not no, but heck no. I'm doing this insurance thing. It's been awesome, traveling the world, and we reconnected there. I said, oh yeah, I saw at that point, I think they had just gotten back from Aruba. And I was like, yeah, I saw that you went on that big trip. That looked awesome. She's like, yeah, I mean, girl, I earned that trip. Like, the company, like, through the company. And that just, honestly, just how excited, like, hearing her excited about not even the business, just excited about life. I'm like, maybe I want to do what she's doing. So when you talk about the flip, it's like, I don't even really know. I'd have to ask her again, but I don't even know if she even really started talking about it. I think I just was intrigued by how happy she was, Her life was going good. She was traveling the world. She was not making what she was making as a dental assistant anymore. So, like, things look good for her. And I'm like, man, can I do it? Like, it's something I could do with, like, 3 kids. And I remember she asked me, like, you have more money or you have more time? That was, like, one of the first questions she asked me. And I'm like, well, I don't got time. And she's like, this is perfect for you. And we just connected. Like, it was just an easy conversational thing with her, and it was very organic. So
it doesn't sound like she sold you on insurance as much as the opportunity, the people,
Right. I think we talked about insurance maybe, like, a little bit, but really she was talking about her life and, like, what she's been up to, traveling, like, not doing dentistry, not no, but heck no, like, no, this is what we're doing. This is the flexibility I have with my Kata and Reina, like, and that for me, like, I didn't even know really. I knew a little bit of what she was doing, Andy, but at that point, I'm like, I have 3 little boys. Like, I know I can do whatever she's doing. And then the rest was history. So
I'll add this. Her, Sarah's husband has a law degree from the University of New Mexico also, correct?
Yep.
So to get a law degree, he means he's got an undergraduate degree and went on to get a law degree. What was his undergraduate?
He has 2 undergraduates. He has his bachelor's in history and then poli-sci.
Okay. So you see the type, Aaron, you, Andre, Sarah. And people will bring people to me that are not close to who you are, and they tell me they're just like you, Aaron. And I go like, no, they're not. I try to be nice and go, yeah. But I'm like, no. So like the more people like you, does this make sense, Andre? Like, so the question is, so like for example, like pick your university. You want to have a great basketball team, great wrestling team. It's the coach's job to go recruit the talent. So you got this criteria, you want. I got to meet, Alabama, University of Alabama, Roll Tide guy's name. What's the coach's name there? Yeah, Nick Saban. So I got to meet Saban and chat with him in his office and talk to him about recruiting. He said, do you have a question? I go, yes, sir, I do. So I talked to him about recruiting, and guess, like shocking, what is he looking for to play on his team? And he talked about it for 35 or 45 minutes for how he recruits. But how he recruits is not telling them how great Alabama was. It's how great are you? Just like how much is Beret selling on how great insurance is, to be like selling on great the alliance is, was more like, what are you doing? What do you need? Is it time or money? We've been traveling together. We have a good time. Association. So it's the concept of recruiting is really a concept of interviewing to whether we're going to let you play on the University of Alabama's team, whether you're going to let you play with the National Agents Alliance, whether we let you play with integrity or not. It's a privilege. So lower your tax bill. It's a lot of stuff, and it's like, oh my God. But it's, if you want to learn that, as a matter of fact, I did a call with several young people that we're talking about how to learn what is profit, net profit, what is a good write-off, and what is a dumb write-off. So all that stuff's important. Another book this book always blows my mind. How to get everything you want faster than you ever thought possible. And one of my favorite lines in it, I probably could find it quickly, but I'm not going to. By the way, I don't know if you can see how marked up my version is. It's just like all the stuff. But one of the things is, if you have something you want to do, get up in the morning and start working on that, and work on that until you go to bed at night. That's kind of one of the other things. My wife, she's got a list, and she says she just keeps it running. She said, these are the reasons you've been successful. And she was reading them off to me, and I said, just put obsessed on there. He's just obsessed. Like freedom. I have dreams. I think about it. I read about it. I study about it. Like it's what I do. Like, I'm now good friends with NFL players, and other people are like, I just wish I knew somebody in the NFL. I'm good friends with them. I've got kids on the football team, basketball team, coaches that I'm friends with, but I'm not obsessed with them or what they do. I'm obsessed with what I do. I know people that do this, and they're obsessed with what the NFL players do. You're not an NFL player. You're not an owner. You're not a coach. Well, that's just what I think about. It's what I believe in. Yeah, well, okay. You're never going to go. Like, I was thinking, like, any game you want to go to, Aaron, Penn State, like, we can have front row seats. Like, no, yeah. It's just tiny amounts of money. You order the tickets online, and you go. It's so weird. Or if y'all in a championship, you want to go, let's go. But because I'm not obsessed with something somebody else does, we can do anything we want to do. Does that make sense? Obsession.
Yeah.
I get a kick out of it. I want to tell you this. So recruiting or selling. Some people at 27 years old, Andre, they want to make sure every person they've got, every aunt, cousin, buddy has an index universal life insurance, accidental. I'm okay with that, but here's the order that I go about it. This is what I do. Would you like to do it too? Then if they say absolutely 100%, well, the next thing I'm doing is trying to sell them on buying products for themselves. If they say absolutely not, then I'm trying to sell them on buying products from me or one of my friends, because I don't really want to go over there and sell it to them. I get them to buy it from my son, or get them from Brandon, or get them from you, Aaron. Does this make sense, Andre? Lead with recruiting, end with selling. So if they get in, now you're selling them on a product. If they don't get in, you're selling them on a product. But if you try to sell them a product first, then try to recruit them, it don't work out. Because if they say no to the product, there's no way you can sell them on recruiting. If you sell them on a product, now they want to, and then you sell them on recruiting, now they got to wait. So I would lead with recruiting, then sell them on product. You say, what if I got to lead? Well, you obviously got to go sell them the product, but then you should recruit. Because you don't want to wait until they get a license. You need to get them covered quickly. Anything, I'm guessing y'all have heard all this before, but I'm going like, is this ringing any bells, stirring any questions? I know that's what Mike Guerra teaches.
No questions. Not for me.
Okay. So to get a great team, get them on a conference call. I love the ARC now. When you go on to get your paycheck, now the first things are the calls that we do, the training calls. It's right up in everybody's face. Shocking now if people don't know how important those three calls are. The Wednesday call, the Thursday product call, and the Friday activity call. Very important that you get people on. Next thing is breakthrough. And I know Mike Guerra and Nick Greco and that whole team, and I know Leventovich, they're all big on pushing the conventions. And by the way, Aaron, who are you under?
So I'm under top Brandon, Spencer, and then Clay, Patrick, and Hannah, like I talked about, directly under Spencer.
Okay, so Spencer's helping you. All right, so getting people on conference calls and getting them to the next major event. Our next major event is Breakthrough. And we sold out of tickets completely because we had a convention center that we had no way to get any more people in it. But we have a separate room now, a separate room. And it's not going to be Breakthrough. It's me teaching Breakout. So we're going from, if you've been before to Marcasetta's, we're going to move you over to mine. If you've never been before, we want you to go through Marcasetta's Breakthrough, which is mind-blowing. Andre, have you been to a Breakthrough before?
No, only went to Denver earlier this year and then Miami. And then I got my ticket for Breakthrough.
So you're for Breakthrough. So your next goal is to get people to Breakthrough with you with Marcasetta. Now, Aaron, were you at Breakthrough?
No, my first event was NatCon in Dallas.
Okay, so you'll be at Breakthrough with Marcasetta. And Sarah, have you been to a Breakthrough?
No.
Okay, so all three of y'all are going to be with Marcasetta. But people that have went previously to Marcasetta's, they're going to be over with me, and it's going to be a more, I'm not going to say more advanced, it's just going to be different because we're talking more about building the business, whereas Marcasetta is a lot about mindset and break through the mind. You're going to love it. Y'all are the kind of people that are going to absolutely eat it up, love it. It's going to be mind-blowing. Can't believe that you attended something like that helps your entire life when it's connected to an insurance business. Like, what the heck? I didn't get in to change my whole life, and then all of a sudden you get in it and it's life-changing. The other thing that it's crazy for us, for all three of y'all to tell you this, is our system has advanced so much. Like right now, our new contract, have y'all tried that when you get people signed up for contracting now, have y'all noticed the unbelievable efficiency and how easy it now? We were very, very clunky, very awkward. Now it's very smooth. There's so many things about the ARC that if you take advantage of it to become a multimillionaire, it's so much easier now. Don't get me wrong. I would put my whole heart and soul into it and energy into it. But the whole system has changed. As a matter of fact, all three of y'all have already signed a new contract with us because our old contract, we did not have Medicare. We did not have BAM. There's so many things that we didn't have, so we've added it to the new contract. So that's why you sign up on it. People ask us, like, why is there a new contract? Because our old contract is way outdated. I think it'd been 4 or 5 years since we updated the contracting. So we've had over 5,000 people sign off on that. We still have a few hundred people who haven't seen it. They're going to need to check off on it and sign off on the new contract. And there'll be a deadline on that going like, hey, we got to get this signed, or going forward, we're not saying, we're not going to be the same. We got to get you signed up on that. So one of the things that too is we find out so many things that we don't know are on that's available to you. Like, I mean, we like to travel and do stuff. We didn't know there was such thing as the one and only. Just a brand new example, we were in business class on Qatar. You can't imagine the first class. I mean, it's as big as my office. And I felt like I should have had something to eat by now. So I went back and I said something to my wife. I was like, were you thinking we should get some food now? She's like, yeah. So I was like, hey, boss man, one of the girls or guys, I was like, hey, what does meals look like? She said, oh, whatever you want. You want a hot meal? Just tell us. And he pulled out the menu and said, what do you want? And I was like, I want this chicken. I want this soup, tomato soup. And I'll go ahead and take some of this ice cream that you got, caramel ice cream. And he's like, all right, I'll be about 5 minutes, get your appetizer to you. And then it'll be 20 minutes to 25 minutes before I can get your hot meal. So everything's a la carte on demand. I was like, oh. You understand what I'm saying? Is like, if you don't know it's available, you don't take advantage. And I can just, in the last 21 days, so many things that happened. I mean, when we came in, how about this one? When we came in, well, let me back up. When we got ready to go to trek up into the mountains, the guy said, there was a woman in front of my wife and a guy in front of me, and they said, sit down for a minute. We need to get you set up. So they started untying our shoes. I was like, whoa, I'm not used to somebody else untying my shoes. Took my shoes off, pulled my socks down, and then put these, I don't know, you call them shin guards or these things basically that comes down over your pants and over your shoe. Put our shoes back on, tied them, fixed them all up. So we had these things on our, like from our knees down, to kind of protect our ankles and shins from rocks or bushes or briars, stuff like that. Well, then after you walk, remember I said it's 2.5 miles uphill, it's 2.5 miles downhill, which is not easy either. So your feet are a little bit tired when you get back to the hotel. So when we get back, they sit us down on the bench, and the first thing they do is sit down in front of you and start untying your shoes and take all your socks and everything off, then wipe your feet off and put sandals on your feet. These people. And then you go in, and of course, they're like, there's a temptation bar, they called it, which is all kinds of food and any kind of drink you can imagine. And then they're like, hey, would you be interested in a massage real quick before you get ready for lunch? And so one of those, like, if you've seen the place where you sit down and you lay your head down, they give you a massage and stuff. If you don't know that there's a hotel that you can sign up for that does this, outdoor tubs, outdoor showers, just unbelievable fireplace, unbelievable stuff that's available to you. So when I talk about the Ark, if you don't ask questions and you don't learn what's available to you, you don't know how good your life could be. So for example, Aaron, getting your people, selling them on getting these calls, and they think about the diversity. They say 59-year-old, married, kids or adults, compared to Sarah, Andre, and yourself. They see all kinds of diversity. You with me? And then each of us gives our explanation of how we get out of our own head, or how do we get out of our own way, or how do we, whatever the situation is. It's like, how do we, how there's what do you want, and there's how do you do it. So getting on these conference calls leads people in the how-to area. Okay. All right. Aaron, what else? Hit me with something else that you've picked up on, that if you've got friends or Sarah's got people that are listening, what advice you would give to change somebody else's life?
I would say be talking to the people that want to see you win the most as much as possible, whether it's Brandon, Spencer, Clay, Robbie, Patrick, Hannah. I mean, I can tell you I probably talked to every single one of them on the phone at least once in the last month alone. And just trying to tweak things, like figuring out how basically to go from running a race as a tortoise to a hare and get there as quickly as possible, fail as quickly as possible, and try to get out of that gray area, whether it's trying to get a client as far as they're buying or they're not buying. I'm okay either way. I'd rather have a door slammed in my face than somebody tell me they want to think about it. Because now, you know, when that door's in your face, they're out, right? But when they want to think about it, you're going with the F word in sales, follow up, right? That's not a good place to be. And I know, Andy, you said it before in terms of if there's 10 people, 2 people are buying, 2 people are not buying, and your middle 6 is where you're going to make your money. I want my middle 6 to be as close to 6 as possible, or try to get them on the other end so you're not stuck in the middle. That kind of makes sense. I made that more convoluted than
No, just say it. I don't know if I say it again. You're talking.
So if there's 10 people, right, 2 people are buying, 2 people are not buying. So right there's 4. You make your money on your middle 6. So how can we get as many of those 6 to the left, to the buying portion as possible, whether it's 5-1, 4-2, 3-3.
You know, it's funny. I just had to laugh. I remember hearing that 2000, 23 years ago, is if you talk to 10 clients, 2 are going to buy no matter what. 2 are going to just impossible. It's those middle 6 where you get rich or go broke.
Yeah. And my upline's done an incredible job at preaching that. I get something different from everybody. So whoever I'm talking to, whether it's Brandon, Spencer, Robbie, Clay, Patrick, Hannah, each of them bring a different element to the table. And they're what have honestly helped me get out and get going with this thing.
So recruiting, you got 100 people. There's one person that's going to do it no matter what. You're lucky. And there's one person that ain't going to do it. And then you kind of go down the middle, and it's the same thing there. The people that in the middle is where you're going to get rich or not. I saw so many examples of this. There's a guy, they call him, he's coaching at Colorado now. They call him Prime.
Deion Sanders?
Yeah.
Coach Prime?
Yeah, and then his son and another kid, that's a receiver, for them.
Shadur's his son, that's a quarterback, and then Travis Hunter is the kid you're talking about that plays both sides of the ball.
Yeah.
He's a stud. We got to get him.
Think about this. He said, after the game, I sometimes sit and talk to the coach for 3 or 4 hours about the game we just played. Like, so somebody just texted me and said, I want to get rich. Who can you find on your team that'll talk for 2 or 3 hours about the very day we just had? Or like you said, what'd you happen last week? And they'll talk to you for 3 hours about last week. But when a person says, yeah, I sold 6 apps and a 4,000 premium, that's pretty much it. You're not going to get rich with that person. But when a person says, you ain't going to believe what happened. I was in this one house, and it was like, I'm not going to buy it no matter what. And I hit him with, well, let me ask you this. What if your husband gets off at 5 o'clock? And this, you know what I'm saying? It's like, if you can find people on your team that are just infatuated, obsessed with everything about your world and your business, and they just can't quit talking about it, thinking about it, and doing it, that's when you start to have that team. And first of all, if you're not willing to do that, how are you going to have people on your team that are doing that? So I know everybody don't want to hear this, but for the people that are trying to build something for freedom and get rich, is finding 10 or 12 people. And imagine this. What if Brandon Manley just loved this business so much, and then he has these long conversations with you, Aaron? What if Spencer has these conversations with somebody else on his team? Now all of a sudden I've got a team, not just one person on my team, but a team of those type of people that are just infatuated with every element of the business. Now, think about this. Some of these coaches in football or basketball or baseball or wrestling, they have passion like it's inconceivable about winning or losing. It's inconceivable about a play call. One of the most frustrating things to me, shocking, international, I'm in Rwanda, and there's a rain delay at NC State. I'm thinking there's no way in, Hades I can watch the game. So we're at dinner, unbelievable, 5-star, 6-course dinner, go home, and I'm watching the play-by-play. Well, it's a rain delay for 2 hours. I get back, they're playing the game in Rwanda. So I'm in Africa, in Rwanda, in a resort, watching NC State play Notre Dame. And we had just come back and scored. It's a really tight game. Looks like we got a really shot. And their coach, Notre Dame's coach, calls a timeout and then runs on the field and starts screaming at the referee. And I went, I did not like seeing that kind of passion from the other team. I was like, this is not a good sign for us. You follow what I'm saying? So when you have people on your team that get so mad about a client or mad about a carrier or mad about anything, you say, well, why is getting mad? Because they want to win so bad that they don't care who's. Let me tell you what is not helpful. Well, I don't really want to throw anybody under the bus. I don't really want to be frustrated with my people because they're all good. Like, I want to see, finding people that are so passionate and embracing those people. People that they don't really care, like finding people that if Sarah can do it, I can do it. If Aaron can do it, I can do it 10 times better. If Andre can do it, but you find people on your team, Andre, and if they're like, yeah, I know Sarah's got 10 people selling, but everybody works at their own pace. You want to get somebody that says, what the hell is she doing? Why are they growing so fast? How come, like almost call it selfish, but it's more, they just want to, finding that desire in that person. And let me tell you something. They're not the easiest to work with if you're trying to tell them what to do. But if you're trying to guide, I call it guiding a geyser. Guiding a geyser, guiding somebody who's passionate. I got that there are going to be problems, but trying to motivate a mud puddle, trying to push a parked car, trying to guide a car, trying to motivate a person is very difficult. Guiding them is difficult, but guiding them is not as difficult as motivating them. Like Robbie Kraft was talking about one of our managers and how motivated he was, and Robbie laughed at him and said, "Listen, you need to hang up the phone and call me back with the right attitude." Like, I admire your passion, but what are you mad about? What you should be mad about clearly is this. What you're mad about is this. And that person who's very passionate went, yeah. But it takes intelligence to guide a geyser, but it takes a miracle to motivate a mud puddle. I got more intelligence than I am miracle-making ability. I'm just not big on the miracle-making ability. But I am pretty smart on the intelligence of guiding a person. Okay. Andre, don't worry about your team. You got your problems. Let's talk about people on Mike's team that are struggling. Nobody will return my call. I can't get anything issued. Client lied. I can't get anybody to sell. I can't get anybody to go to meetings. What advice would you give? Not people on your team. Be nice to your people. But Mike's team. He's hiring some teams. Woo. Help him. What advice would you give to him?
So I actually had a conversation with one of the newer agents out in Houston yesterday, and I think the big thing was, and I've heard it from quite a few people, from yourself and from other people I've heard talk, just not really fighting, right? Not going against or having an opinion or having, how you think you should have done something or what you used to do. Because the way I came into the business, I really didn't have an option to, kind of dabble or get my feet wet. I left my job, the company that I was with, after some, stuff that happened, decided to leave. Originally it was something that I was going to do maybe part-time on the weekends or something like that. And then once I decided to leave, I remember calling Mike and saying, hey, what do I have to do? So I think the GMR scares a lot of people. The money that they're going to have to pay. Well, why should I spend this much? I'm calling these leads right now and can't get anybody to answer the phone or this and that. And they're all legit. I don't want to say excuse. They're all legit. Feelings, right? But at the end of the day, that ain't gonna get you. That ain't gonna get you anything. So, when I started, I just right off the gate started listening. Like, there was really no experience. Like, I have to go off what he says, and why wouldn't I, right? He's had a lot of success, and everybody in the group, him, Nick, Dave, Mark, all these guys are extremely successful. So why wouldn't I listen to what they have to say? I'm down here, pinching pennies. So, that would be the biggest thing. If they say something, or they say to, call when you get in the house, or to set up a GMR, or maybe if you don't have your GMR, hey, go to this county and buy these leads. Just do it. Cause at the end of the day, if you just sit there and think about it, then you're kind of in that space that Aaron said, you're just sitting there in your own head. Oh man, well, I haven't made any money. I didn't make any sales, and then you get stressed out. Then when you finally do get in somebody's house, you're so stressed that the client they can smell it on you. You're so desperate for it that, it just ends up not working out. Then it just adds to the stress, and then you end up being, another person who was just a number, right? They just came in, they tried it, and it didn't work. It wasn't for me. So don't fight it. Just ask questions. We got all the resources in the world, from the Alliance University, all these webinars, all the trips, calls. And, I know a lot of people have their own individual teams. So even with Mike, we have our own, calls on, Monday and Wednesday, and we're always talking. Like I said, I talk with Mike every day. So anytime there's a question, I'm always asking, and, just open to learning about things. And, yeah, that'd be the biggest thing.
Seems simple, don't it, Andre?
Very. Very simple.
It is simple. You understand wrestling has a lot of simple moves that people don't do, right?
Yeah.
And the coach tries to explain to you the simplicity of how you either do it or you're going to be sitting on the bench.
Yeah.
But do you notice how they have a bit of passion about you getting back on the bench?
Mhm.
Or passion like things like, if you don't care about winning, I don't need you on the team, son. Along those lines. You remember conversations like that? Where the coach would just get in somebody's face, and in some ways you might be going like, he's a little over enthusiastic about wrestling. Or in fact, did you say like, I agree with him? You know what I mean? Like it's just, so it's that same concept. The same concept here is, how passionate are you on the simplicity of getting stuff done?
Yeah, and usually the people who have the same passion, like you said, if you see the coach, and some people may look at them and be like, oh, he's kind of over the top. But if you always look at whatever it is, whatever sport, you see the people or the players that follow them are the ones who are the national champs or the conference champs or whatever, or just psychos about whatever they're doing. And I've seen it. So yeah, it's very simple stuff. And like you said, at the end of the day, if you're not going to do it, you're not going to do it, but that's on you. So
how about this? What if you've never been that person? I would say this to 1,000 people listening. What if you've never been that person that is over the top passionate? Like, how do you get that? You ever thought about that, Sarah? That like in your world of dental hygienists, that they just not over the top about how hygienists work. And now you join this and you see people that are not over the top. What do you think about that? You think you make them? You find them? You think you could talk anybody into doing that, becoming passionate about this?
I think it's something that you're just kind of born with. I hate to use that, but I think just certain people are just, like when I was in dentistry, I was passionate about teeth, man. I was passionate about that, you know. I think there's certain people that are just passionate about things. But then I think it's getting around the right people, you know, that can pull that little light out of you real quick. Getting around other passionate people.
So here's what I in 32, 33 years of building networks, is it's so much easier to find a person who's already psycho than it is to make a person psycho. But my preacher and my own experience will tell you this. I was not a psycho person in the first grade. When I don't know how old you got first graders. How was a first grader?
6.
Okay. I was 6 years old. I couldn't read. Can your 6-year-old read?
Yeah.
I couldn't read nothing. My mama couldn't read good. My daddy couldn't read good. I couldn't read at all in first grade. And I was frightened because I saw people that were different colors and different sizes than I'd ever seen in my life. You with me? I was scared kid. Then I went to a Christian school and I found out I was going to hell. And everybody there was definitely smarter than me. So I was double depressed and double scared. Like, how am I going to be successful in this life? So I got Jesus, and then I started meeting other people that seemed to be 100 times dumber than me. And I started to getting encouraged in my life. The older I got, I met some of the dumbest people I've ever met in my life, and I thought to myself, I'm a dumb person. This is what I concluded. But I just ain't as dumb as these people. So by the way, reading the books, listening to the audios, this was, by the way, Andre, was this Amway group. When I joined them, I started getting to be that passionate person. I never was the screamer. I never was the communicator. But when I got involved there, I started going like, this is something I found something that I could get behind. I liked baseball. I loved baseball. I loved football. I loved basketball. But I just never felt like my life was going to change if I shuffled my feet as opposed to crossing my feet. I never, you know what I mean? Like I just never lost my mind over it. But when I got in this business, I started losing my mind. It's like, oh my God, I could get rich. By the way, your boy's sending me all kinds of pictures, Zach. So I'm going to text him and send him some pictures. So I'm going to definitely go to communicate with him. Guys, listen, freedom is this, or Aaron would want me to say it's this far away. It's 6 inches. It's a decision. I also have a goal book that I keep track of stuff. And I want to make sure that you guys' names are in here. I keep track of my first, like if somebody said, who's on your first team? This is who my team is. And then you see some of them, oh, I shouldn't have done that. Names are marked out that used to be, I thought were on my first team. And then I'm starting a new list right here because it wouldn't fit on these 2 pages. So I moved over here. So I want to make sure your name's on there. I see Sarah and Pablo right there highlighted. This is annoying, but I came up with some new goals on the way back, different goals than I've had in the past. And that comes out of that goal book. And one of my goals was start having more goals. I've got to start making up more goals. I've got to start picking that out. I'm not going to bore you with my goals, but I'm saying that knowing what you want, like I put down 8 new want tos. These are 8 new things that I want. So now each one of those 6 new things that I want, cues your mind to start thinking, how do I get it? So once it's, what do you want? So if you start thinking, I want freedom, Andre, it changes the concept. If Aaron, we're 2023, if you're in 2024, I want to make 500,000. Help me with, do you know these numbers, Andre? I'm trying to remember if Mike made 100 grand first year, 200,000, now he's on track to make 400, or did he make 200? And now then he went 400, and he's on track to make 800. You think he's on track to make 400 or 800?
I think it's 4 for this year.
Yeah. So next year should be 800,000. But if he starts to say, I want to make $1 million, I want a minimum of 1.2 million, now he starts saying how. As soon as you say what you want, you start to think how. If you say, well, I'm struggling, there's no magic. But if you say, I want to get out of my head, then the next thing comes up, how do I do it? So if you want to make, so what are you on track to make this year, your first year, Andre? What are you on track to make? Or
probably, I know I'm at about 35, and this is my 5th month, and that's after like my chargebacks and everything. So I'd say, I don't know, 70.
So first year, not even a full year, make 70 grand. So the question is, what do you want to make next year? And then people say, it's not what I want to make, it's how do I have to. I don't care about all that. Just tell me what your goal is. So if you said, hey, Andy, I want to make 250. All right. How you going to do it? Well, I don't know. You tell me. Okay, let's brainstorm how. So once you set that goal, Sarah, so it's setting that goal, and then let's talk about how. But when you don't have the goal, there's no sense for me to tell you how. So the people that texted me and said, I want to go rich, now I have a reason to start talking to them about how. What do I want? How do I get it? So, hey, Aaron, last thing. Can you tell them about the second time we met, Aaron, when I was kind of like, what are you doing? Like, why are you not?
That was probably one of the better moments I've had this year. Thinking back on it, at the time it was very tough. You were very hard on me, and I thank you still for doing it. I remember texting Clay and Patrick. I'm like, I think I upset him I don't know what I did, but I thought, I mean, at that point, that was what, March this year, April this year? Right, it was right before Denver, and I was doing like a little over 10K a month, and I thought that was really good. And then I realized quickly that there's more out there. You just got to want it. So we started figuring out, you know, how to, just what you said, what do we want? How do we get it? And every event that I've been to, something's clicked, right? I met Rojas personally for the first time in Miami, I think. His speech on stage in Denver in April was the reason that I wrote 3 annuities in May and June. I hadn't written an annuity up to that point. And like, it was just like little things like that like click. But you got to have that tough love, right? I mean, Clay and Patrick, I talk to them every day. There was a point in time where I would question everything. Now I don't question it anymore. For me, the biggest thing was getting embarrassed, right? If I had a chargeback, Clay would tell me, go back to the client's house. And I'm like, what? I don't want to do that. And he's like, you got to do it. Now it's a matter of doing it and telling them you did it after the fact. And I think it's about talk about what you've done, not what you're going to do. I'll never forget the day I was going to lose $4,000 of business. And I told him I was going back to the house, and I saved all 3 policies because I went back to the house. So it's a matter of, you know, do it, talk about it afterwards instead of talking about what you're going to do. And that conversation that we had where you were tough on me, I mean, I'm not going to forget. I'm going to be sitting in that same chair on Monday when you're here. I'm going to be sitting right to your left on Monday when you're back out here in Pittsburgh. And it's that same kind of connection that honestly, I'm thankful for and I appreciate.
So I would just ask you and the others that are listening to this is your job with young people, with people you bring on. They went to NC State. They went to University of New Mexico. They graduated from Illinois. What? Show some pride. The hell? Show some pride. Are you happy at 10 grand? How you happy at that? That'd be like, yeah, we won like 3 games this year. Like, what? You know what I mean? It's like whatever you expect, now it changes the perspective. So when you expect a lot, it's like your 3 children, Sarah. What do you expect out of them? Like, we're Seiferts. Like, we're not Joneses. We're not Pendergrass. We're not Tuckers. We're damn Seiferts. Or we're Penn State. I tell my kids we're Albright. We're from Austria. We got to get our mansions back. We deserve it. That's our bloodline. I think they're semi-convinced of that. I've been telling them since they were babies. So as soon as I could get Aaron and say, look, I'm expecting a lot more out of you. You're a Penn State graduate, man. Let's go. He said, what if they're not a Penn State? Well, find some reason. Like, you're a bodybuilder. You're a recovered drug addict. You're a deadgum mommy. You're a daddy. You're an overcomer. You're a winner. I expect more out of you. That's that coach thing of the expectations. Some people are going to say, you're right. I can do better. And some people are going like, me. And it's the tear coming down, the lip starts quivering, you know, you got your wrong person. Now you can back off of them. But when a person goes like, you know, I think you're right. Now it's how we're going to fix it. So congratulations, you 3 guys. Y'all are picked out by my staff for up and coming, successful. We're proud of you. And, look forward to hearing more people that you get lined up coming to Breakthrough and looking for you on the leaderboards. Thank you. Y'all are very helpful, contribute a lot to the entire organization today. Thank you so much. Love y'all. Proud of you.
Appreciate y'all.
Let me get a picture of y'all for you. I'll go away.
See y'all. Take care.
Out. Later.